I wish this was just a bad dream, but it's not. Canada is in real financial trouble. After years of reckless spending by the Liberal government, our country is sitting on a mountain of debt, our economy is barely moving, and life for everyday Canadians is getting harder by the day. Now, with Mark Carney in charge, things aren't getting better, they're getting worse. Let's go back a bit. When Justin Trudeau became Prime Minister in 2015, he promised to run small deficits, less than $10 billion a year, and balance the budget by 2020. That didn't happen. Instead, Trudeau ran 9 straight deficits, ending in a $61.9 billion shortfall in 2024. Our federal debt almost doubled, going from $650 billion to $1.24 trillion. But here's the shocking part. Carney is making Trudeau look like the careful one. His first budget as Prime Minister, the so-called main estimates, shows a spending plan of $437.8 billion. On top of that, there's $74.1 billion in non-budgetary costs like EI payments, and at least $49 billion just in interest to cover our ballooning debt. That brings total spending to about $554.5 billion in 1 year. And it doesn't stop there. Carney is also promising to increase defense spending to 5% of Canada's GDP, which would cost $155 billion a year. That's money we do not have. It's a move that shocked many Canadians who believed Carney would be a careful, responsible leader. Now it's clear he's not slowing things down, he's stepping on the gas. Even if tax revenues stayed the same, which honestly they won't, thanks to trade wars crushing our industries, we'd still be looking at a $40 billion deficit. But with auto, metals, and consumer goods sectors all taking hits, our revenue is shrinking, not growing. This is, well, a recipe for disaster. Under Trudeau, our Canadian dollar dropped from 77 cents to just under 70 cents US. Carney's response? A few empty promises to cut staff and, find savings. But those are just words. Instead of cutting back, he's announced billions more in foreign aid, like $4.3 billion for Ukraine, without even going through Parliament for approval. It gets worse. According to Franco Terrazzano from the Canadian Taxpayers Federation, interest payments alone will hit $70 billion by 2029. That's money your kids and their kids will be stuck paying forever. Meanwhile, business investment in Canada is falling off a cliff. Companies aren't putting money into tools, equipment, or technology. Canadian workers are now less equipped than workers in other countries, especially the United States. That means lower productivity, lower wages, and a lower standard of living. Think about that for a second. We are working harder but falling further behind. Why? Because our government makes it hard for businesses to grow. We've got high taxes, heavy regulations, and a system that punishes success. A recent report from the C.D. Howe Institute said that capital, money for business growth, has been shrinking since 2015. If we don't fix this, life in Canada will keep getting more expensive and good jobs will disappear. Even our credit rating is at risk. A recent report from Fitch Ratings warned that Canada is facing, quote, rapid and steep fiscal deterioration. They haven't downgraded our rating yet, but if we keep going like this, they will. That would mean higher borrowing costs, even more debt, and even less money for healthcare, schools, and support for struggling families. And let's not kid ourselves, Carney didn't save Canada during the 2008 financial crisis like the media says. That credit goes to Prime Minister Stephen Harper and Finance Minister Jim Flaherty, who made the tough decisions that kept our economy afloat. Carney was governor of the Bank of Canada, sure, but he wasn't calling the shots. Now, as Prime Minister, he's leading us straight into a financial disaster. At the G7 summit, Carney promised to spend 2% of GDP on defense, which equals about $62 billion. But just days later, he upped it to 5%, that's $155 billion, with no explanation of how we'd pay for it. That's on top of all the other spending he's planning. Every dollar of that is more debt, year after year. And what do we get for all this spending? Honestly, nothing but declining living standards, rising inflation, and a country that's becoming more and more unstable. The worst part? Millions of Canadians believed in Carney, They thought he was the smart guy who would stand up to Trump and manage our economy. But now, Trump is openly mocking him, pulling out of trade talks and threatening new tariffs, all while Carney scrambles with no plan in sight. What do we do now? It's clear, Canada needs a new direction. Carney is not the answer. He's making the same mistakes as Trudeau, only faster and on a much bigger scale. If we don't act soon, we'll face more inflation, more debt, fewer opportunities for our kids, and the slow collapse of everything that once made Canada strong. We need leaders who will cut waste, invest in productivity, and put Canadians first. Not someone who plays dress-up as a global banker while driving the country into the ground. I love this country, but if things don't change, and fast, our future looks very bleak. Please subscribe and leave your thoughts in the comments.